Beginning at the roadside parking in Seathwaite, the route heads through the nearby farm and out towards Sourmilk Gill. The route passes many waterfalls to reach the hanging valley of Gillercomb, where I make my way south to the plateau at Blackmore Poles. A short detour takes me to the 646 metre peak of Baysbrown, before I backtrack and ascend to the highest point on the walk on Green Gable. A steep descent down to Windy Gap and a turn left leads me down to Styhead Tarn, and the gradual descent down to Stockley Bridge and the bridle path back to Seathwaite. Welcome to a rather wet and windy day here at Seathwaite in Borrowdale. These sorts of days are to be expected here, as it is the wettest place in England and the forecast is not set to improve much. My route begins by crossing the beck by Seathwaite Farm and starting the steep ascent along Sourmilk Gill. It's almost a solid 300 metres of ascent, but conveniently broken by viewpoints of the spectacular waterfalls. And on a day like today, the waters are roaring down the fell side. As you reach the hanging valley of Gillercomb, there's around half a mile of respite, with a gentle ascent along the edge of the boggy mass far below, backed by the towering rocks of Raven Crag. The path is well marked as you reach the plateau at Blackmore Poles, but as you progress northeast along the moortop towards Baysbrown, the path begins to fade and become increasingly harder to follow for those who are ill-prepared. A brief break in the clouds allows me to see my path ahead, but the cloud soon drops again, reducing visibility to 50 metres or less as I reach the summit cairn. It's at times like this that you must have a good quality map and compass and know how to use them. The path up to Green Gable is fairly obvious with a series of cairns marking where walkers have gone before, but in thick cloud like this it's easy to lose all sense of direction. I had time only for a brief stop at the summit of Green Gable, enough for a single photo before the winds were almost blowingly off my feet, and I quickly headed down to Windy Gap, which lived up to its reputation before turning left and descending the loose path along Arran Slack. The lower you descend, the better the path becomes, with the lower sections being fully constructed from large stones, and it's at this point I finally descended out of the cloud and got my first view of Styhead Tarn ahead. The tarn sits nestled between the peaks of Seathwaite Fell and the mighty Great Gable, and is passed along many routes to the surrounding mountains, including Scarfell Pike. It's permissible to fish here, with people coming up to try and catch the wild brown trout, known to be in the tarn. The tarn is a reliable waymark for me. As I make my way down to the main Borrowdale to Wasdale path, I turn left and make my way along Styhead Gill, crossing the beck at the footbridge and continuing to descend down and around the slopes of Seathwaite Fell. Stockley Bridge is crossed on the way back to Seathwaite. This early 18th century packhorse bridge sits along the route from Borrowdale to the Cumbria coast and is probably witnessing more traffic now than ever before. Just across the valley, and not seen in the initial descent, is the spectacular waterfall of Taylor Gill Force, nestled amongst a dense cluster of trees. From here, it's a simple walk along the bridle path back to Seathwaite Farm.